Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call the Budget Committee meeting to order. We do have a set of minutes for February 16th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Aaron?
Finance report quickly. February is obviously a big month because that's the last date to pay property taxes before they're late. So we've received 94.72% of our budgeted property tax at the end of February as opposed to 92.07% last year. Due to the moving of pennies and growth money, you're up about 4.9 million in terms of property taxes collected over what you were in the prior year. Other things of note, let's see. So we always talk about sales tax and special purpose tax fund. It's up over the prior year, $778,000. Let's see. Adequate facilities tax in the general debt service fund is down 1.6 million year over year. Local option sales tax in 152, the rural debt service fund is up 187,000. And adequate facilities tax in 189 is down year over year 800,000. But everything is in good shape overall.
Any questions for Aaron? Have a motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the report. Any comments, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Budget amendments.
amendments.
Excuse me. First budget amendment at EMA the other night. The cost of remounts has gone up. They were needing an additional, they being WEMA, was needing an additional $12,000 to cover the cost of a remount. We will take that from patient charges in the general fund. So basically, we'll just move another $12,000 over and put it in the, it says in-service staff development. That is not what the correct description for that line. That is an equipment line.
You need to tell me what a remount is. So
A remount is when they put a new chassis, they take the old box off,
Okay.
put it on a new chassis.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Can I ask a question? Aaron, it looks like you put the 12,000 or somebody has twice on the increase and one of them supposed to be on.
No, these are not gonna look the way they used to anymore. They're gonna look more like the school systems where these things are not necessarily going to balance. If both of these are gonna be increases, you're increasing revenue and increasing in expense.
Okay. All right. My bad.
No, it's understandable. It looks different a lot of times. The library, this is a result of,
Did we do that?
All in favor say aye.
oh, sorry.
Aye.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Who's second?
Tommy.
All,
Or, no, it was
all
Sarah's
right.
Okay.
All have been listening when I was talking.
Motion approved.
Consent.
The library, we've been using accounts that aren't in the uniform chart of accounts, which we're not supposed to do. So everything you see here, we have point ones and point twos. I think we talked about this kind of thing recently with the drug court for a different reason. But we were using 56,500 for the Lebanon Library, 56,501 for Mount Juliet, and 502 for Watertown. Those were not in the uniform chart of accounts. Audit asked us if we would move them, so that's what we're doing. We're just moving them into 500.1 and 500.2.
So you didn't spend that money, right, Bob?
It ain't nothing changed.
Okay.
No.
So you need a motion on that or
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Related note, this is correcting a budget amendment we did for the library last month with the payroll that they weren't using. We put that into a revenue line. There's a revenue and an expenditure line, both called contributions. So we did the 44,570, which is a revenue line, but we're actually spending this money out to them. So it needed to be in 56,500, 316. That's the 52,000 correcting that. in accordance with what we just said. $499 would indicate that it's the Lebanon Library, but it's not the Lebanon Library we're doing the $4,600 to. It's the Watertown Library, so that's going to be $499.2.
You have a bunch of sticky notes to remind you what you've done.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any additional questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
PEG is requesting to move money from advertising into other supplies to replace a laptop computer that's broken.
Motion.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And Chief Deputy's here tonight. I'll let him go through his amendments.
Get out to him.
Here.
The first one is requesting additional funding out of the general fund. All of these passed law enforcement committee unanimously. The first one is gasoline. As y'all know, gas is up. We have waited to this point thinking that we think this figure is going to get us through the end of the year pending any drastic price changes. It is still fluctuating up and down a little bit, but we feel like this is going to get us through, so we're asking for that amount, the $95,000. I know that's a lot, but
So moved.
we haven't raised our gas budget in several years.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any additional questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next one is asking for additional funding, $15,000, and part of this is going to be for the some of its cost increases, but this is for the addition of the new jail. We're having to bring a new fiber connection in, and that's going to cover part of that, and some of it is going to be some other communication related to the jail that's going to be required, some lines that is going to bring our new dispatch online. So we're asking that to get us through the end of the year, and don't think we'll need any more than that, but I feel confident this is going to cover that. And it's, again, this is mainly the new building. Wasn't included in the, we didn't ask for it. We anticipated it, but we just didn't know when we were going to need it. And things are coming online a little sooner than we thought. So we were hoping to wait to the new budget, but we're getting it to that point.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The next one is a request for additional overtime. We're asking for an additional $50,000 to get us through the rest of the year. The majority of this is related to a lot of criminal cases that's been worked. One of the members on here knows that there's been a lot of overtime spent on different type cases, especially in the Criminal Investigations Division. Some of this is dispatch, because we've been down several dispatchers and we've been having to pay a lot of overtime. So we know we're going to run short. Again, this is another one of those that when we did the step or the pay increases, we really didn't increase our budget in overtime. We didn't increase it any. So now these officers and detectives and dispatchers are getting paid a higher rate. That means the overtime is a higher rate, and we never increased that. So that's something that wasn't looked at across any department's budget, I don't think. So I spoke with Aaron about it, and he realized that, and we talked about it. So that's where we are. We've got 200 and almost 290 employees. I'm not saying all of them's getting overtime, but when it's due and you've got criminal investigations that you've got to run and murder cases, that adds up.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
I almost voted you.
I know these are some tough ones. The last one that's general fund money. When they funded the jail, they didn't fund anything for FF&E as it relates to anything outside the scope of jail FF&E. So this is to bring the offices we added, the dispatch center and things like that, FF&E. This is mainly going to be some office equipment I do have some money in the budget, but in the process, and I spoke with Director Maynard, we're taking quotes on office furniture from 3 different places. Don't think we're gonna have to bid it. I think it's gonna be a little less than 25. Right now, the quote I have a quote for around 20,000, another for 22, and I expect the other one's gonna be a little higher. And, but I'm just adding a little bit. If we don't spend it, we'll put it back to the general fund at the end of the year. On a positive note, I want to tell you that since this is the last one that's come out of general fund, we anticipate turning back somewhere in excess of $300,000 in salaries that were unfunded positions just because we couldn't hire them. So even though you're saying, well, we're robbing Peter and paying Paul, I just want you to know that I feel like the sheriff's been
Motion to approve that.
very good at turning money back at the end of the year.
Second.
I was trying to make it a little easier, Mr. Jones.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
This last one is, I'm
We
sorry.
gotta vote.
Sorry, Director, Mr. Chairman.
There's a question from the audience. I don't know if you want-
Yes, sir.
John.
No, I was just gonna comment, I thought that was last one. I wanna thank the Sheriff's Department, Major Bennett Lansford. I went to a tour of the new section of the jail. If you haven't done it, you should do it, it's really, educational. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
This one is commissary funds, so this is not taxpayer money. This is anticipated revenue that we budgeted $505,000. And it was all anticipated revenue to come in from commissary, the phones, and the other revenue that comes in that's not taxpayer money. We're going to exceed that this year, so we are asking to increase that a little bit. And this communications is going to actually pay. We do supply TV for the inmates, but they're going to pay for it from now on.
We're
And
gonna
so-
move that 10,000 that's under the revenue account 43380. It's actually in the decrease column right now. We're gonna move both sides into increase.
okay.
Motion approved.
have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
I'll remember
surplus.
to do that. This is surplus that we're asking for permission to surplus. This did pass the law enforcement committee. They're broke down. The first ones, the first group at the top, flashback, these were in-car DVRs. So instead of basically trying to surplus these, it's really hard to totally wipe out videos. So we want to destroy them. They're past use of life. These Apple iPads, these are first generation. Some of them is, even though it says sixth generation, the Apple Airs and some of these others, fifth and sixth, they are beyond their service. We could sell them, but then we are concerned about CJIS information on them and it getting out into the wrong hands. Even though you wipe a phone, you're not wiping the phone. So, and then lastly, these Motorola radios, we talked in the radio shop, these radios are not capable of digital, they're not capable of encryption, and they're not capable of narrowband. So, which is the new band that we're going to in this new radio system y'all approved. So it is not worth selling them. It's not worth us spending the money to get the radio shop to use a Windows 98 computer, and I did say Windows 98 software, to try to reformat these and wipe them. So that is the list. We're asking for surplus to destroy. We have a company that will do this for us for free. Basically, they will take the equipment and break it down and take all the good parts out of it, anything that is valuable, and then they'll shred the rest of it. And we get a certification notice. So not any cost to the county to do this, but we think this is the best thing to do as far as CJIS related information and any other confidential type frequencies and all that. So we're asking for y'all's approval on that.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The last thing I have is a request for permission to approve a new lease contract on copiers. And we've done as much due diligence as we could. And so what you're seeing here is a comparison of the copiers we have. And you're thinking, oh, wow, they've got a ton of copiers. We do. It's spread over numerous buildings, numerous floors, about 4 or 5 different buildings. we did a comparison with our existing, what we currently have with Minolta, which is Novatech. That's the first page. The base rate monthly is $1,500 a month. The next page you see is with a company called Dex, which is another company that's located in Middle Tennessee. Their base was $2,276. And then lastly, we compared Xerox, which is a local, and we've been currently who we have. It is expired. We're month to month right now. Their quote was $2,420 a month. So the difference between Xerox and Novatech, about $900 and something a month, right at $900 for annual savings just on the base of somewhere around $11,000. So this is the best comparison I could give you. The cost per copy is cheaper with Novatech, somewhat with the other two. So we feel like this is going to be a huge cost savings for us. So I'm requesting, and the sheriff's requesting, you approve a 5-year contract based on the base rate with Novatech for our copier services for the sheriff's
I'll
department.
make a motion on that.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve.
Any claim of road.
Is there any questions or concerns? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Committee members, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Board of Education?
Lisa's
I have several coming to you in one sheet. This will be based on approval by our board on Monday night. We haven't had our meeting yet. The first one, we're increasing refunds for Dell Tech money that we've received and the corresponding expense item related to that we will be spent on. Second one is increasing disposal fees and travel due to increase in the rate that we have to pay, the 65.5 cents a mile. We're taking that out of the teacher line item. Third one, our employee there is not in the hybrid stabilization retirement. We're taking it and just moving it into the regular state retirement line item. The next one is we're increasing our assessment personnel, taking it out of the supervisor director line item. Next one, our child nutrition. We're adding other charges, taking it out of supplies, materials for credit card fees. And the last one is we're increasing our contracted services and our health line item for physician consults and taking it out of other charges in that same line item. It does not request any new money. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Any noes?
Thank you.
Jeff, I forgot to ask you just a while ago, were you able to hire any of those people from that place that closed down?
I'm not sure if we've got them hired, but I know they've reached out to the process.
That'd be good. Do we need to approve the concerning the 109 Lima?
Yes. I hope all of y'all got an email
Yes.
from me
Yes,
yesterday
sir.
or the day before. There was kind of a veil, the thread in that email we got from their attorney. You know, usually the local governments don't want to argue with TDOT or whatever. I took that as, you know, don't push it too far, big boy.
Go as far as you can
What
go.
they were saying. So, yeah, I recommend that to you. And Mayor's for it as well. He sent me an email.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
What did y'all approve?
That's a good question.
That piece of property.
$40,500. They made an offer of 25, and we went back at them with 40,500. I don't know where that kind of odd figure came from. And then we got an appraisal, and he came in at 50 something, 52.
That's where y'all paid the five, or we paid the
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah. And so the state has come back and said, we'll pay your original offer of $40,500. We're not gonna pay any more of that lawsuit. And $12,000 not worth it. Their reasoning's pretty good. Their appraiser and our appraiser were reasonably close on the value. Where we bucked ours up was, damages to what's left, and he said, we didn't find any damage to what's left.
So of course you're not gonna find any.
No,
Just mine.
That's right.
No.
But it ain't, 12, if it's
that's all.
$120,000 difference, it'd be.
It's, the amount's not worth it.
Now, as much as we're trying to get TDOT to do for us,
That was kind of the veiled threat that was in
in other
the.
areas
That's
of
the
the
kind of
county,
reason I wanna hold out for it. I ain't had much success getting them to do much of anything.
Well, they did pave our Wheeling station for us.
Huh?
They did pave our Wheeling station.
Yeah, but that's your wind station.
That's the county's radio station. Easy now.
But they also made that road extremely close to that wind station.
Exactly.
Did y'all vote?
I thought we did. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
There'll be a resolution in the packet approving the settlement.
Thank you.
Is there any other old business?
No, sir.
Any new business? Anybody have anything they want to say?
Motion we adjourn.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna say.
We weren't ready for
Thank you very much. Y'all be careful going home.